Hello, good evening. Here we are again. How does Friday come around so quickly? I'm actually not sure. It's gone like a flash, and I know for some people it's been a very long week, but rather bizarrely, we're sort of getting into the swing of it. I know lots of people are saying that. They're saying that it's a very strange old time, but we're sort of getting used to it. Listen, I just am so thrilled that you're all tuning in, and thank you so much for your incredible feedback about doing this show. So this is Hello, Let's Gab. Welcome. It's so lovely to see you joining in and saying where you're watching from, which is lovely, from all around the world. Today, which is thrilling for me, two of my most favourite men on television. We have Ben Shephard, the wonderful Ben Shephard. I've got a story to tell you about Ben. He might not want me to tell it, but I may just do that. Plus, we have Matt Baker, of course. He was on The One Show and Country File. And I want to talk to him about farming. He's got all these animals on his farm, and he puts up the most incredible footage about his wonderful animals, including a lamb. There was a very lovely lamb indeed. So I want to find out the latest on the lamb and his chickens. Also, Melissa Hemsley will, of course, be joining me, as she will be doing every week. She will be doing a snack attack for us all. And I think, I sort of vaguely know that she has got snacks with Matt and Ben in mind. Okay, so because if you think about Ben Shephard and you think about Matt, they are two of the nicest people you could ever wish to work with or to know. So you think about Ben, you think of seriously fit. Have you been looking at his Instagram feed? Oh my word, he's so fit. And I mean fit, healthy fit. That's what I meant. He's a very old friend of mine, and I know his wife Annie, and yes, that's the sort of fit I meant. Plus, of course, so Ninja, GMTV, Good Morning. He also did the bigger breakfast. Lovely Ben Shephard. Let's go live to you now. Shephard, he is standing by. It says waiting for Ben Shephard official. My lovely friend Ben. I might call him by his nickname as I know him. Maybe I will. Hello.
It's amazing. Give me 2 secs.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. And
okay,
we can
see
you. Yes, my lovely. How are you?
I'm all right. It's just gone 6 o'clock on a Friday. So I'm getting very tired. It's nearly bedtime.
Yeah, well, okay, we'll let you go to bed in a minute. Don't you worry. Ben, thank you very much. This is the second episode of Hello, Let's Gab. And it's wonderful to have you on it. It's really lovely. And Hello Magazine and everybody out there adore you. They're all watching this from all over the world. So, Mr. Ben Shephard, before we start to have our chat, can we let everybody know, am I allowed to share
You do this every time.
Our nicknames.
You can share your nickname for me. Of course you can. I think very fondly of of one of my most embarrassing moments with the TV icon.
Okay. Right, we will share this. So you and I both worked on The Big Breakfast, but of course never at the same time. You did The Bigger Breakfast.
That's right.
And then the very first time that you and I managed to work together was when we were doing EastEnders. We were doing EastEnders Live, not actually in the show. We weren't.
No, we weren't doing the dumb stuff. EastEnders Revealed, wasn't it? Behind the scenes, everything you need to know about EastEnders.
Well, you used to do that, though, because you had your own show on BBC Choice, as it was.
Yes.
And I did the BBC One Daytime, and then we met.
Yes.
We met in the middle. Now, what happened was that Ben was in his dressing room, and I was so excited to be working with him because I'm a huge fan, and actually ended up being great friends. But huge fan of Ben's, and I walked into the dressing room, and do you want to take it from there, Ben?
Well, okay, so as everyone can imagine, I was just starting out in my telly career, and it was exciting enough doing stuff on the EastEnders set and being at Elstree where they used to film it. But then we were going to be doing this show together, which was really flipping exciting because I loved The Big Breakfast and I was a huge fan of yours anyway. And, you know, I wanted to make a good impression. And we were sitting in makeup. I seem to remember we were sitting in makeup. And I can't believe I'm sharing this. I literally just started and you're making me share this. So I was like, okay, right, whatever happens, just be really cool, Ben, because Gaby's amazing. And, you know, you got to impress her because she's so cool. And I'm sitting there and you're sitting next to me and we're sitting, as everyone can imagine, with makeup and the guys. Everyone's been very polite and chatty. And I'm really nervous, but I think, yeah, okay, I'm doing it. I'm holding my cool. I'm holding my own. And you've been chatting really lovely and being really gorgeous and lovely and saying, oh, it's going to be great fun and really lovely to work with you. I'm really looking forward to it. We chatted about some few bits and pieces. And then he said, right, I'm just going to go and get changed. And I said, brilliant. I'll see you out on the square in a few minutes. And literally, as you went, she said one thing, just so you know, you've got a massive bogey hanging out of your nose. And I had the most enormous bogey. And I suddenly sort of, because I was so busy trying not to be conscious of looking at myself in the mirror and just looking at you and paying all my attention to you, I hadn't noticed I had this enormous bogey hang out of my nostril.
And it was waggling. It was waggling when you talked. So here we go. Now, the follow-up to this is he looked very embarrassed. And this is now, I think it's 20 years ago, 21 years ago that we did this.
Yes, it would be. Yeah.
And Mr. Ben Shephard in my phone is now Bogey Boy. And my girls who have grown up only ever knowing you as Bogey Boy.
I know. And in fact, I think one of your daughters said to me, Ben, I've never really understood why she calls you Bogey Boy. Can you just tell me what the story is? And she's only ever known me as Bogey Boy, but actually really without knowing. And the thing is, like, so there is undoubtedly, whatever happens now, I mean, it's taught me a really important lesson, which is, you know, the last thing you do before you go on air, you go and do anything, you check see if there's any bats in the cave. Do you know what I mean? You've got to clear, you've got to make sure everything's clean and fresh and there's nothing's going to... Can you imagine talking to someone you've admired for years, you're really excited to meet, and then the whole time there's this dangly bogey hanging out, you know?
Do you know what? But it made me love you even more, and I always have. So, Ben, of course, everybody knows you. I want to go back before you started doing TV, but everybody knows you. Sorry, Tipping Point and Ninja and I mean, you've been doing breakfast for so many years and many guys, and of course you're still doing it. And you do This Morning, and you do your football, and you do your fitness. But how did that break first happen? What was the very first thing you ever did on telly?
The very first thing I did, well, I started working. I was at university in Birmingham. As you know, I was studying a degree in dance and theatre.
Yeah,
and while I was there was an advert for a local weather channel, the channel that used to make all the local weather in the Midlands, and they used to make the weather for the Southwest and also for Wales. Was all based in Hockley, which is the jewellery quarter in Birmingham. And there was an advert suddenly put up in the drama department at Birmingham University, and it was they were looking for a boy and a girl to come and do some filming for them for a weather sting, which is kind of like the interstitial before the weather starts. It would say something like the weather sponsored by whatever it is, and they wanted us to film a weather house, me and my friend Claudia, who had been at RADA or went on to go to RADA and then became a very successful actress and was brilliant. Anyway, I applied for that, got that job, did that job, and I said, have you got any jobs going as the summer as a runner? And they said, yeah, we do actually. So I ended up running for those guys I ended up working for them on and off for the next couple of years as a receptionist and painting, collecting dry cleaning and, you know, as you know, making cups of tea and just doing anything that anybody needed doing and filling in. And it was their idea that I try and get into telly. So when I left university, I got a show reel together, which is kind of like a CV on tape. I applied for an advert, which ironically was for GMTV's kids strand at the time, which was called Dig It or Digging It. And I applied for that. And at that audition, I met Andy Peters, who was then about to go to Channel 4 to set up something at Channel 4. We didn't know what. And Andy saw me at that audition and said, I'm launching this brand, this strand on Channel 4 called T4. I'd love you to come and do it with me. Will you come and do that? And so my first job was, before all that started, he got me hosting this show called Control Freaks, which was a sort of a promo show, a short 5-minute promo show that was on Saturday and Sunday mornings on Channel 4 called Control Freaks. I used to have to do that at the end of each control freaks, like that. And I'd interview bands. And my very first job, Gaby, this is what was so amazing. My very, very first job in telly, and this was just a small, short 5-minute promo show. But my very first job was to fly to LA and interview the cast for Saved by the Bell, Sister Sister, and Moesha, which were big shows for us at the time. And
Wow.
of course, the American companies that promoted them wanted us to go out there and do this promo show for them. So so my first job was flying to LA to interview, and I'd watched all these shows as a kid growing up, and then I'm sort of on the set, and we were at Universal Studios interviewing Screech, Dustin Diamond, isn't it, from Saved by the Bell, and all the main characters, and then Moesha and the girls from Sister Sister, and it was just the most ridiculous thing. I'd gone from, I genuinely was signing on, trying to get some job seekers allowance, trying to get myself going, and I went into the unemployment place in Loughton, near where I grew up. And they still talk about this to the day. And I sat down and they said, so what sort of work are you looking for? I said, well, ideally, I'd like to be a TV presenter. And they said, yeah, we're not sure we've got many of those jobs. I could get you a job in a pub cleaning dishes. So I said, okay, I'll take that for the time being. And then I did whatever I could to try and find some work. In the meantime, doing everything I could to try and get into telly. And fortunately, and you'll know a little bit about this, Gaby, I was in the right place at the right time. There's a lot of luck involved in what we do. You have to meet the right people. You have to be able to take advantage of that. And I was very, very lucky because I met Andy, who is still a really brilliant friend of mine now, and a huge confidant and an advisor for me, and a mentor, I think, in many ways, to this day. And but that was my first job. It was just, yeah, amazing.
Do you know that the wonderful thing about you, though, in television, that you've always stayed the same, and you and Annie have been together for years. We now see your home life. Annie, I mean, she's a champion. She grows every vegetable. She makes jam. She does all the cooking. She looks after you. You and the boys are juggling. You're working out. She's incredible. But when did you two meet? When did you get married? Before all of your TV stuff.
Well, we met at university. So we met in Birmingham. So we met way before I started working in telly. So I was about 21. So I think that's kind of around 1995, 1996, something like that. And so we sort of got together at university. And trust me, I was a rugby playing idiot at university. I had absolutely nothing going for me. I spent my life wearing tracksuit bottoms and looking a mess. I lived with my best mate Sam and my housemates Camilla and Victoria and Tori, and then Helen swapped places with her. I was just talking to them today as well. Camilla's now a shepherd. She runs a farm down in Sussex, which is really, really lovely. But you know, I had nothing going for me. And then there was this beautiful girl on campus called Annie Perks, and we knew who she was because she was so glamorous. You know how glamorous Annie is, and she even back then,
she's beautiful.
She was so glamorous, and you know, way, way, way out of my league. And I think that when eventually I managed to wear her down, it was a little bit like, you know, a little bit of rough for her, a little bit of Essex rough in Birmingham, and she gave in the end. And sort of, you know, that was 25 years ago, Gaby, would you believe it?
Wow, you're so, that's incredible. It's so lovely.
It is, yeah.
And the two of you, so obviously we have to talk about this crazy, weird, bizarre world that we're now living in. And how are you coping as a family? You look like you're just getting loads done, which is a great thing to do. Is that advice you'd give to other people? Yeah,
I think that we are sort of very keen to make sure we punctuate the day with targets. And when I say targets, I don't mean sort of things we've got to achieve, but moments that we're going to try and do. So we make sure that I'm going to do some exercise, or I talk to the boys about making sure they do some exercise, or right, what are we going to do? And Jack has been brilliant at making cookies or making cakes. He made the most amazing chocolate cake the other day, and sort of making sure there's activities. I did a brilliant thing that I put on Instagram actually with a friend that I met during Ninja Warrior called Monty, who's a jester. And my eldest, Sam, has really got into juggling. He's taught himself to juggle. So we did a sort of a juggling masterclass with Monty, which was just brilliant. So finding things to do that just breaks up the day, because it's very easy for each of the days to roll into the other. And having a little bit of something in the middle, just to sort of bookmarks a little moment, so you don't just sit on a screen, because it's really, really easy to drift away and sit on a screen, and make sure And the other thing I think that I've said to Annie, because as you know, Annie loves her gardening particularly, is being outside. We're very, very lucky that we've got the garden, and there's been a lot of work to do in the garden to get it ready from spring into summer and get the veg patch all up and running. And also the bad news, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but we have a rogue rat in our compost heap.
Oh, no.
Honestly, Gaby, this has been properly, I don't know if anybody who follows Hello Magazine will be into knowing how to deal with rats. But
how do you do it?
Well, I mean, we are sort of doing our best to try and discourage the rat from enjoying the compost heap. Apparently, it's a very common thing. There is no food in the compost heap. There was some sort of vegetable bits and pieces.
That's food.
But yes, but they've been taken out. Eggs apparently is really, it's like crack to rats. So eggs and eggshells, the rat. So that and she cleared it all out, and there may be some eggs in there. I don't know. We live by a park. I think there's a lot of rats that we don't see in London, in and around London. But this one has popped up a few times. Can you imagine? Honestly, I'm a proper wuss as well. Like, she mentions rat, and I totally went the other way. There was no. So between us and me and Sam and Jack, with sort of long gardening implements at the end, just in case it comes running out, just trying to, apparently if you make a lot of noise and you make the habitat wet and sort of make them feel uncomfortable, they'll go away and they'll go and play somewhere else and look at someone else's. Yes, exactly.
Just do some of your singing and dancing.
I just want to say, my singing and dancing, you're absolutely right, it would work. But just so people know, and you know, we've got boys of a certain age, and I'm sure your girls enjoyed the film Ratatouille. The idea of the rat.
Oh, you've gone still. Yes.
Yeah. The idea of having yeah, I'm going to get off the. There's my goddaughter Ella there. She's saying get off the topic of rats. The idea of having a rat in the compost heap. There's nothing charming or lovely about it. It's not like Remy the rat making a nice ratatouille.
No.
It's properly, you know, it's not great. I need somebody to come up with some sort of ethical way of us being sure that the rat doesn't come back, and I'd be absolutely.
Well, can you not learn to love the rat? I mean, I personally couldn't, but could you?
No, are you kidding?
No.
I can't be in the same postcode as the rat, to be honest, much to Annie's annoyance. She keeps thinking, you know, why can't you big strong boys come out here and sort this rat out for me? No chance. It's like, go on, you go first. It's your compost heap. You own the rat.
Do you know, it's so funny, everyone's going, no, stop, it's the rat thing. I'm not very good with mice either, but you're also doing all the working out, because I know you do park run, which of course you can't be doing at the moment.
No.
But everyone's saying get a Jack Russell. There we go. But you do all your exercise. You've been doing a lot of that live for people as well, haven't you?
Yes.
In the evenings, which is great.
I'm as you know, very fond of exercise. I think it keeps me mentally very balanced to stay fit and healthy. I have a bad back, so I have to manage that. I've sort of got to the age of 45. I am now, goodness me, and a lot of wear and tear. So I do a lot of training, which I really enjoy. Sam and Jack are getting into it as well now, which is really, really good fun. And I've started doing a few evening sessions. So on Thursday nights at 6 o'clock, we do a HIIT session with my friend Ben, who I train with as well. And it's been brilliant. The response has been amazing, actually. I've really enjoyed that. And I think that's something else, Gaby, that I put into my day and certainly my week in order to get over, so just get through it and make sure that I'm staying on top of physically feeling healthy and mentally feeling healthy as well. If I don't train or I don't get a chance to train, then that can really bring me down emotionally and mentally.
Actually, interestingly, a few people are saying on here, how do you get motivated to exercise? And actually, for somebody like you, you are very motivated as a person and you are very fit. I was saying that before you came on. But how for people who are now sitting at home and thinking, oh, I have to keep up because everybody's exercising, what do they do?
So I think the really important thing is, don't assume, like, I'm not particularly motivated. I have it in the back of my mind, but I am, like everybody else when it comes to exercise, a procrastinator. I will put it off and put it off and put it off. Especially if I'm going running outside or whatever it is that I might be doing. I think there's two things you can do that I think really, really help. First of all, if you can find someone to train with, So you've got somebody you can't let down. I think that is really, really important.
Oh,
Because,
well, right now there are a lot of people who are on their own. So maybe doing it
yes,
with you online
FaceTime.
and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's my point. So I'm training with my friend Steve, who's my personal trainer. We do it on FaceTime. I do it with my Instagram sessions that I did yesterday. There were about 5,000 people, I think, watched it at the time. We're all doing that together. I've done spin classes that I'm doing here as well. Just find somebody you can do it with, and you can do it together. That shares the burden. So, and also you don't want to let them down. I think the other thing is that, and I always try and mentally prepare myself for this, is understanding that you never feel bad when you finish doing a workout. You will always feel bad if you don't do a workout. Even if you only do a short 5-10 minute workout, you will never feel bad at the end of it. And it's the feeling at the end, knowing how I'm going to feel at the end, that often is the driver for me to get started. The hardest thing, and if you talk to anybody that trains, the hardest thing is the first moment. It's the first step. It's walking into the gym. It's walking outside. It's putting your trainers on. Once you've done that and you get moving, it all is so much easier. And just do what you can. And I guarantee you'll feel so much better for doing something than for not having done it in the first place. And I always try and remember that. Sam's brilliant, my eldest. He's going out all the time. He's really self-motivated because he's got sort of set up a little thing with his mates as well on Strava. So they sort of race each other and stuff. But Jack, my youngest, isn't at all. So it's much harder for him to want to get out and do things. So just trying to be creative with it as well, Gabby. So going in the garden and hitting a tennis ball against the wall, or just running around, just finding any excuse.
Okay, well, some people are saying, can you do on your Thursday night, could you do a beginner's one as well for people who haven't necessarily done a HIIT workout? Could you do a slightly easier one Thursday?
Yeah. Well, what we do is, I think, yes, absolutely, we can do that, or we can do that another time as well, undoubtedly, because I think you're right. You don't want to alienate anybody, but everything that we do on a Thursday has sort of a less full-on aspect to it as well. So you can do the hard version, or you can do the medium version, or you can do the easy version. So we try and make it really, really inclusive, depending on your level of fitness and depending how confident you are about what it is that you're doing. So if you're doing sort of press ups or squats or whatever it is, you do a press up in a way that makes it easier for you to do it. And you only ever have to do as much as you can do as well.
That's
no one's cracking
really good advice.
No one's cracking
okay, so for all the key workers, and I'm not just NHS, but for all of the people who are the delivery drivers, the people who are clearing our drains, the people who are the postmen, the post people, the fire, every single person, do you have a message for them, please?
It's the simplest of things, but it's just a huge thank you. We get contacted when I'm doing the breakfast show, and I get contacted a lot by people. I'm sure you are as well, Gabby, on Instagram and on Twitter, on any form of social media, just talking about how difficult it is for certain people doing certain things. And I mean, those frontline NHS workers, it's just remarkable, their bravery and their commitment, putting themselves in harm's way for us and for our families, and doing that caring thing that we can't be there to do is remarkable. But then there's all the infrastructure behind that, the people that are providing the food, the people that are doing the cleaning. You've got childminders that are looking after children and other people's children, understanding they're putting themselves in harm's way. We've got people in call centres that are having to deal with everybody's concerns and worries, get contacted by a lot of them in enclosed spaces themselves. They're really worried. People working in banks, the delivery drivers. I think one of the lovely things about this period is our appreciation for these jobs, and these jobs has just rocketed. We understand how vital they all are. We couldn't function without them. We're all sort of been thrown into this turmoil where we have to stay at home and do as little as we can geographically, but we still need people to run the infrastructure, and we would be hopeless without them. They are superheroes in my eyes, in so many ways. I've got family members that are frontline NHS, and I've got family members that are doing sort of key worker jobs, and I couldn't be prouder of them, and I couldn't be prouder of the great things we are seeing in Britain at the moment. I think it's one of the things that makes Britain great is the reaction that we have had as well. You just have to look at Captain Tom Moore and the amount of money that he has raised by walking those 100 lengths. I think it's £19 million now, and that, I think, my heart soars with pride then as well, because the generosity at a time when money is really difficult for a lot of people, the generosity of the great British public when they see something authentic and inspiring it's really moving. It's really, really moving.
It really is. We just got to mention police and teachers. Somebody was saying we haven't mentioned them, but
Yes.
it's all of those people. A big thank you. Ben, thank you very much.
You,
Can
actually,
you just find out, can I just ask you about Kate? How is Kate Garraway and her husband?
Well, I mean, she posted on Instagram last night, just because she and Darcy and Billy went out at 8 o'clock as well, and just to say they can't thank the NHS enough for the extraordinary care they're offering Derek. He is critically ill. He is very, very ill indeed, but he is still with us, and as long as he's still with us, there's still hope, and it's that hope that our NHS workers are providing the families that can't be there. I mean, that's the heartbreaking thing, is they can't be there to hold the hand or to stroke someone's hair. But we know, because we've talking to people today on Good Morning Britain, that actually the nurses are offering that care for family members that don't have them, sadly. So we're all keeping our fingers crossed, and sending lots of strength and positivity to Kate and Darcy and Billy for his recovery.
Will you let her know that everybody is saying the same thing on here? They're all sending their prayers and their good wishes and their love. Please, will you pass it on from me and
I will.
Everybody?
Yeah. Undoubtedly, I'll make sure she knows. I mean, she did say she can't go through all the messages, but one of the things, in the quieter moment, she gets a chance to read all the messages from people, and they bring her such comfort to know that everyone's out there. And she shares in the fear and the worry for the millions of people around the country that are also struggling as well. It's pretty indiscriminate, this virus. My cousin's husband has just come out of hospital. He just came home today, having been in hospital for 11 days.
He's okay.
And he's okay. He's recovering, but it's a slow, long recovery. So we are all feeling it, we're all experiencing it, but as she said at the end of her post on Instagram, which you can see if you look at it is, we all stand together, and I think that's what we're going to come out of this, is stronger, because we're all going to stand together and look after each other. That's what we need to do.
And kindness abounds. Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful Ben. I completely adore you. Bogey boy, you are a love.
Only you, Gabby. Only you. Is that your wardrobe that you shop in, by the way?
Yeah,
every blooming week.
Shopping in your wardrobe. Yeah, you have to join me one time.
By the way, I'll just quickly, before I let you go, we had lunch a couple of years ago, and we were talking about this, and I was saying, come on, you need to do more on Instagram. You need to do more. And you're like, oh, I can't do anything. I don't know what to do. I said, just be you. Go and do some of the bonkers stuff that you do, and just start doing it. Now look at you, for heaven's sake. Look at you. You're an Instagram queen. You're an Instagram diva.
True. Listen, I listen to you, Ben. If you say jump, I'll say, okay, how high?
It's lovely to see you.
You do so much. You don't like a compliment, but you do an immense amount for charity as well. Cystic fibrosis, all sorts of charities.
Actually, I should mention, someone did put one of the things that I thank you for that. A lot of the smaller charities and charity workers are struggling at the minute. And smaller charities, of course, have seen their funding cut dramatically because of what we're going through. There is a small children's hospice that I work with, and we're going to do a charity quiz night. We did one a few weeks ago on the 28th of April. It's for the Haven House Trust. I'm going to be very sneaky and put this in here, Gabby, if I may.
No, please do.
If anybody would like to join us, I'll put the details on my Instagram and also on my Twitter page. I think it's £5 for a team to enter, and you can just join us. And everyone's invited to my house for a quiz that I will host. Just a bit of fun, but it raises money there. It's a children's hospice on the edge of East London that I grew up very close to. That gets no funding from the government because, of course, they can't fund it. And yet it offers the most extraordinary respite care for families and children with terminal life-limiting illnesses. And they have launched an emergency appeal because they need to create money. They need to get money to keep it going. So that's one of the things that I've been able to do, which has been lovely. And there's so many.
So remind us of that charity and the date, please.
So it's the Haven House Hospice. It's April the 28th. I think it's a Tuesday. But I will put the details on my Instagram and my Twitter. And you just go on and register, pay a little bit of money. We made £5,000 the last time we did it, Gabby, which is just, amazing. And that was very quick. We're giving everyone a bit more time now, and hopefully there'll be some more families. And everyone's invited round to my gaff for drinks and quizzes.
Lovely. Bless you, Ben. Thank you. Send my love to Annie and the boys. And thank you for joining us.
And to your lot as well. Lots of love.
Bye-bye, my lovely.
See ya.
Bye, Ben.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye, everyone.
Oh, lovely Ben. Lovely, lovely Ben Shephard. Wow. So you might have learned another side of Ben that you didn't know before. Right, now we have, hopefully, coming up next on Hello, Let's Gab, we have the wonderful Matt Baker. Now, of course, Matt Baker does the most incredible things. It's like Ben. They do remind me of one another. I'm just going to see if Matt's standing by. So apologies when the screen goes a little bit funny. I'm going to see if he's standing by. He's not quite there yet. Ben. Okay, Matt, where are you? Let's have a look. So Matt will be here any second now. I know that he's been watching. We've been messaging each other today. I'm also hoping that he might have somebody with him. Now, I'm not sure if that is going to happen. Of course, Matt Baker, you see on The One Show and you see on Country File. Country File is one of the most successful. There he is. One of the most successful TV programs. Let's have a look at you. Okay, Matt Baker. Here he is. Coming in now, Mr. Matt Baker. Waiting for Matt Baker, it says on the screen. So on this show, we also have Melissa Hemsley coming up. She's going to be doing a snack attack. Hello,
Hey, it's worked.
Oh,
Amazing. This is the first time I've ever done one of these, Gabby, and I'm so pleased it's with you.
Well, I'm delighted. I'm really delighted. Thank you so much. Welcome to Hello, Let's Gab. We've just been speaking to Ben, and the two of you do remind me of one another. I mean, you are... Well, you're both.
We have side partings. We've both got brown hair, and we both do a rather considerable amount of TV, don't we?
You do. You also both started out acting, performing, dancing. I mean, you were. Wait a minute. I'm going to play you. I've decided to play you, if this is okay. I've got a theme song for you, which I've done for you before. You know what this is. Are you ready? Okay. Here we go. Matt Baker. There
you go.
Every time I see you, I just go, Matt Baker. Anyway, but
you
started out singing and dancing, didn't you?
Well, weirdly, yeah, how it all
Yes,
started. I was a gymnast for many years, and I ended up in a college production of the musical Grease to do some backflips and somersaults and kind of body double and sort of be a stuntman for the guy who was kind of playing the lead in that production. And anyway, a couple of days before the show opened, he got laryngitis, and I ended up having to step into his role and played his part. And then I got scouted to go to drama school, not knowing anything about drama at all. And I ended up at drama school in Edinburgh. One thing led to another. And yes, like you say, with this whole disco dancing thing, one of the things that I did to make money whilst I was there was to set up a 70s night. And I was this guy called Butch Vendor, who was a bartender. And we had this whole disco night where we'd spend the evening just reliving the 70s, basically. And that was it.
And so how on earth, so I asked Ben about how he first started out in television. So from going from that, was it Blue Peter, wasn't it? Your first
Blue Peter was my very first job that I got, and basically it was my then girlfriend, who is now my wife. Her auntie read in Hello magazine, I think, that Stuart Miles was leaving
Very
Blue
well
Peter.
put there. Hello, you get the plug in for Hello. Well done. Well done.
And she said, and we said, oh well, this would be great. And at the time, I was at drama school, and you're not supposed to do anything or go and audition for anything until you're fully trained. So I thought, oh well, I'll be a bit sneaky, and we went. And I basically just rang up the BBC and said, I think, it's quite a long story, but I'll keep it short. Anyway, I rang up a couple of times, eventually got through to who I needed to speak to, who was the secretary of the editor at the time, and said, look, I think I may be, the next Blue Peter presenter. And she said, well, I'll stop you there because we've put it out to press and we've got all the people that we're going to audition. And I said, what, so you're not going to give me a chance then? And she said, well, we can't. And I said, well, what would I have had to have done to get to this point? It was interesting hearing Ben talk about his show reel, in his story that he told earlier on. But yeah, you have to make this show reel of all the things that you've done on TV in the past. And I hadn't done anything at all. But I said to her, look, if I could get my show reel to you by tomorrow, would you have a look at it? And they said, oh, well, okay, go for it. And we were lambing at the time on the farm back up in Durham, and I thought, right, well, let's make a video about that and all the crazy things that I do in my life. And with gymnastics, I did somersaults off the bales, I rode around on a unicycle, I lambed a sheep, weirdly, and talked about all the stuff that we were doing on the farm, recorded it all, sent it in, it got there for the next day, and well, the rest is history, and here I am now talking to you.
That's incredible. And was Blue Peter? I mean, I've always said when I was 3, I wanted to do Blue Peter. Was it as incredible as it looks?
Yeah. I mean, it literally takes over your life. I mean, back then when we were doing it, it was 5 days a week, and we did 3 live shows, and we pre-recorded 2. Which then went out on the new CBC channel, which was kind of launching in and around that time. But it was just incredible. And at the time as well, foreign film was so cheap. So I filmed 3 passports in the time that I was there. And I did absolutely everything from, every single environment you could imagine going to and experiencing. I went there and I met the most remarkable people as well. That was the thing with Blue Peter. It opened the door to so many people because, you just rang up and said, oh, we're Blue Peter, can we come and make a story with you? So you were always filming with the best of the best in the places that were just incredible to go and visit. And I look back now and I can't believe what I did. At the time, you're just constantly learning your craft and you're wanting to make really good stories, which at the heart is still what I want to do. But you didn't realize how magic what you were actually doing was until now. I look back and that was 22 years ago.
I think you did. I mean, the first time we met, you were doing Blue Peter, and I remember at the time you never had the smile didn't leave your face because you were loving it. You were happy. You were really, and actually, I don't think I've ever seen you grumpy. You love what you do. I mean, you host one of the biggest shows on all channels, which is Country File, of course. You just left the one show. I have to say, everybody saying they miss you on the one show, which is lovely. I'm sure you love to hear that. The one show's just not the same without you, quite frankly. But let's go to Country File, if we may, because Country File is a phenomenon. It's probably a surprise to everybody who was involved with it, that it's a wonderful show.
Yeah. I mean, it's been in this kind of prime time slot now for well over 10 years. And people even, it's funny you say that it is a big surprise. When I went, because I came pretty much a year or so, I'd finished Blue Peter and I was kind of in this in-between phase. And Jay Hunt, who was then the controller of BBC One, it was her idea to shift it to this evening slot. And back then it was rural news, it was quite, Sunday lunchtime. I grew up on the show. I used to come in, working on the farm and this, that, and the other. We'd all sit around and watch Country File on a Sunday. So it was quite a controversial move to move it to this Sunday night slot, change it from a kind of rural news into this lifestyle kind of show, which it is now. But the reason that Jay Hunt wanted me to do that was because back in the day on Blue Peter, I would often take the cameras to our farm and what have you, and show, what life was like there and, the complications of rearing animals and this, that, and the other. And she said, look, can you put the kind of the younger spin on it? Because we want to aim it at all ages, and have all bases covered. And so we did that right from the start. And it was a huge passion of mine. And I was like, well, this is my world. This is what I love more than anything. And if I love it, then other people are going to love it too. So I think maybe I was probably one of the only people who aren't surprised that it was going to work, because I know that world inside out and I love it so much. And it's kind of a window into that world for people who live in towns and cities. And yet, those who do live in the rural community feel like the flag has been waved for them. And so, it's a magic program. And we've actually been filming where I'm talking to you from now on our land here. And it's been magic, actually. My son, he filmed it. He was cameraman. He's only 12 years old, but we got all the camera equipment delivered here onto the front there. And he was filming it all, and it's gone really well. We've done quite a few different items and this, that, and the other. Just
when are we going to be able to see that?
Yeah, so we did like a links kind of program, which was just very quick, just so we could compile something and get it on air last week. But I think Anita's hosting one this Sunday, and then the following week we're doing all sorts of bits and pieces around here. So I didn't want to go too farmy because I wanted to try and relate to be able to, for people to do things in their own space too. So we did, we put in a wildlife pond here. We were doing bits and pieces about wildlife that you can find in your garden and ways that you can bring it in and stuff like that. So
wonderful. Yeah. Now, of course, I have to ask you about the lamb before we go. People are wanting to know about Panto. But we just
Panto.
The chickens and the lambs and
the chicken. You want to start with the chickens because I've got one here. I've got one in my house. Hang on. There we are. This is a little silky. Sorry everyone. Here we go. Look, this is Kiki. This is Kiki. Now these are more ornamental chickens and producers. There she's flapping away. Hang on, let me just pop her down there. There she is. Look, so they're more ornamental. These are silkies. They're bantams, so they're only ever tiny. They're absolutely beautiful temperament. And this one's my daughter's. I mean, we've got quite a lot of chickens here, layers and what have you. Here we've got about 15 or so here. But back on the farm, we breed a lot of chickens, a lot. And my mum is the queen of the chickens, basically. So what we've got going on here is we kind of have an extension of the farm that we've got up in Durham. So we've got a flock of sheep down here of Hampshires and Hebrideans, which are black fleeced Hebrideans, and Hampshires are like a thicker kind of teddy bear sheep. So we have them here, but we've brought them from the farm, you see. So the main flock's up there in Durham, and we should be there right now. We should be there right now lambing, but obviously with lockdown we can't go, and my dad's certainly in the vulnerable group there, so we've got to not be there. It's very, very difficult. But yeah, this is Kiki. She's in with Poppet, and the other chickens are outside. And it's raining at the moment here. I don't know if it's raining where you are.
Yeah, no, it's raining here in London. But Matt, I have to say, this is probably a first for Hello Magazine.
Oh, right.
The chicken. It's pretty darn fabulous.
Well, let me just show you these as well. Hang on a second. I'll just pop her on the kitchen table.
As you do. But nice, in a nice alive sort of way.
Yeah. So that obviously is a normal egg that you would eat for your breakfast, which one of ours laid a little bit earlier on today. And that's the there you go. That's the silky egg. But you can still
Kiki's egg.
Yeah, that's Kiki's egg. So you can still eat these. Which are lovely. And actually, one of the things that I did on Sunday's edition of Country File was turn one of those into John Craven. Hang on a second. John's on the top of the fridge. Hang on.
John Craven's on the top of the fridge. You've got a chicken on your.
So
that's fantastic. Is there anything you can't do? Because we've seen your art. We've seen you lambing.
Oh yeah, my art. Yeah.
Oh my word. That Kiki, stay there, Kiki. Oh no, Kiki's getting camera shy.
Oh no, she's fine.
We see you have the farm and that lovely lamb, that gorgeous lamb that you showed a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So that's now a pet lamb. Yeah. That's now a pet lamb. And this is the thing with those lambs, that lambs, when they're pet lambs and they grow very quickly and they become quite boisterous and wonderful. But yeah, they're a constant friend when you've got a pet lamb. So so that lamb is doing really well. Actually, that was one of the last times I was there before lockdown happened. So that lamb is up on the farm where Mum and Dad are.
Is everybody on the farm all right though? Everybody's fine.
Yeah, all good. Thank you for asking. Yeah, all very good. And but yeah, challenging times all round, really. But to be fair, when you sort of live quite an isolated life anyway when you're a hill farmer. So for Mum and Dad, it's actually the Mum had a shopping delivery for the first time ever. So that was quite an event for her to actually have a shopping person come and deliver some shopping for her. So
how wonderful!
Yeah. Anyway,
how wonderful.
Do you want to say goodbye to Kiki, and I'll hand her to my wife,
Kiki,
who's going to pop her back in the pen. There we go.
Hello, I know you love his wife as well.
There you are, Nicola. Just say hello. There you are.
Nicola, hello, Nicola.
Hello.
Hello. Oh.
Now, Nicola still has the watch that you gave her many, many years ago. We did a corporate thing together. I don't know if you remember it.
It was a charity.
A charity thing.
It was a white watch.
It was, yeah. And Nicola's still got it, yeah. She's still got it. She loves it.
Thank you. Still got it.
Oh, she's so lovely. It's so nice to be able to chat to you like this, Matt. Okay, so two things I want to know about, okay? Are you going to do more panto? Because everybody loved you in panto. Are you going to do more?
Yeah, I mean, I had a great time with that. Now, the thing about that is that Michael Harrison, who's now a big old theatre producer, we were at when I go back to that Edinburgh Drama School, he was at college there with me. We were at drama school together, and he was in the year below me. So we've known each other for years and years and years. And I've done a couple of pantos, and I've done them for him. And then because he now produces the Palladium Panto, and he works with Angela Lloyd Webber and Cameron McIntosh and all this. Been hugely successful, Michael Harrison. But he said to me, "Look, I'm doing one down at the Palladium, and it's a circus theme. So will you come?" And because he knows I do unicycling and somersaulting and all this, that, and the other. He said, "So will you come? And we're going to put a tightrope across the stage, and will you come and do it and walk a tightrope?" Well, I'd never walked a tightrope before. So he said, "Look, don't worry, I'll send one over. I'll send a tightrope to you." So I had one here in the garden for a good few months beforehand, and had an absolute ball doing it. And I was there with Gary Wilmot, with Julian Clary, with Paul O'Grady. Sophie Isaacs was playing Goldilocks, and the cast were absolutely magic. I loved it. Honestly, I really did love it. So yes, there's no reason why I wouldn't do more pantomime.
Good. I'm very pleased to hear it. The other thing I want to know, is it true you're going into the jungle and doing I'm a Celebrity?
Well, it's funny because I've read that too, and it came as a complete surprise to me. You know, it's funny, isn't it, how these things, I don't even know where that's come from, but I think it came from a bookie somewhere. But I haven't had any conversations yet.
You would be awesome. So that's not a no then.
Well, I mean, you know, I wouldn't listen. I'd
You're
get
blushing.
very
You're
rarely.
blushing. You're
I'm reluctant
blushing.
to say no to anything without having a good think about it.
Okay, now let's talk about the big night in. Let's get off that because there's a
Oh,
definite
yes.
yes under there. Right, so the big night in is happening on BBC One coming up next week. So can you tell us all about it? Because we want everybody to watch it because the money is going to very important. Well, it's going all over the place, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
it is. Yeah, yeah. So in a nutshell, Children in Need and Comic Relief are coming together for a big old night in where we're going to obviously raise awareness about everything that's going on. So many great causes. There's so much great work that's been done by so many different people, really. And so we're going to do our very best as Children in Need and as Comic Relief to be there for those people who really do rely on those charities. You know, the most vulnerable people who often need care and they need support. You know, at the most
all
important
the time,
times.
not just at the moment.
And now, yeah, I mean, Ben picked up on this earlier on, saying that so many charities are in real trouble at the moment.
Yeah.
And I mean, I sit on the board of Children in Need. I have done for many, many years now. I've started alongside the late great Sir Terry Wogan. Gaby,
it's an amazing charity. It means the world to me. 12 years of doing that, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this came as an idea initially. It was only a matter of weeks ago. It came to the board and we were sitting there going, right, we want to make it happen. How do we make it happen so quickly? And is it possible to do it? And so the work that's gone into this to make that, you know, to be able to put the two charities together for so many people to benefit in such a short amount of time. I mean, you know yourself, the work that goes into these appeal nights, and often months and months and months. To do it in a matter of weeks has been absolutely incredible. And there's so many people from the entertainment industry who are offering help. They're offering sketches. They're offering, you know, whatever they can, really. So it's going to be a wonderful night.
We've all been making little videos. I've just did a little video today. And the thing is that Children in Need, as you know, with your amazing rickshaw challenges, is that every penny of every pound goes to the kids.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We have we've basically got an emergency fund that at times like this, well, not times like this because it's totally unprecedented, but when alarm bells start ringing, we can go to that fund and we can put it out there. So there's children benefiting right now of all of that money that's been raised. And so we just want to do as much as we possibly can. We're going to do our very best as both of those charities and you know, I'm really cautious about it because I don't want to go on there and start saying, right, give us your donations, because I know how difficult this is for so many people at the moment. But generosity comes in all sorts of different forms. You know, it's not just money, it's also time, it's offering things that you may have at home that can help somebody else. And so if we can just kind of shine a light on certain
He's gone still. We'll get him back. Hopefully he will come back in.
Am I here?
Yes, you're there. You're there.
Sorry, yes. Sorry. Yeah. Yes, I was just saying that, you know, generosity comes in lots of different forms in my eyes. And it's not just those donations. It's also just shining the light on areas saying, look, help here, help there. What can you do? And so that's what we're aiming for.
Fantastic. Just remind everybody when it's on, please.
Yeah, so it's on Thursday, actually. Time is running out. This Thursday coming. So it's going to be myself, Lenny Henry and Davina McCall are going to start things off. Then we've got the big old NHS clap where we'll be clapping for carers, acknowledging all the wonderful work that's going on right across the board as far as all frontline workers are concerned. And then after that, then Paddy McGuinness is going to be there. I think Lenny's going to continue and Zoe Ball's going to join in as well. So we'll have a hub, which actually is going to be the One Show studio. So bizarre for me to be going back there. Because I went into isolation before I left the One Show. So I never ever got the chance to kind of go back. So yeah, so we'll be going into a very empty studio because there'll be no audience in there. We'll keep the crew down to an absolute minimum, and we'll see what happens on the night. So
Well,
yeah,
good
from
luck
7,
with it.
from 7.
Good luck with it, my lovely, and thank you for joining us tonight on Hello, Let's Gab.
Absolute pleasure.
And it's always an utter joy. Following you on Instagram is just a joyful experience, and you are a joyful man. So thank you. Bless you. And
right
stay
back
safe.
at you, Gabby.
Stay safe. Keep well.
Lots of
Bye-bye,
love.
my lovely.
Bye, everyone.
Oh,
Thanks for tuning in.
Just a delight. Lovely Matt Baker there. You see, I told you. So we've got Ben Shephard and Matt Baker. Now, hopefully Melissa Hemsley will be here because, of course, every week at the same time during Hello, Let's Gab, Melissa Hemsley will be bringing us her snack attacks. And here she comes in. And in fact, I know what the snack attacks are this week. We're very sort of sneaky. Earlier on today, she sent through an idea. It says it's connecting. There she is!
Hi, Gabby. Hello, everybody.
Lovely. How's your week?
It's been quite nice, actually. You know, ups and downs. Your head goes up and down, but it's actually lovely, Gabby, to have this to look forward to. Your beautiful face.
Oh,
everyone saying hello from Hello and Beyond.
I know what's so lovely is that people were messaging us and saying they were really looking forward to it, which is great. And thank you to everybody that's tunes in now every week. That you and I are together every week. I'm so thrilled. And we had lovely Matt today and Ben. And of course, I hope you have taste tester extraordinaire Henry there.
Hi, Gabby.
Yay! Lovely Henry.
He's just done a workout and his hair was a bit fluffy. And he said, oh, I hope it doesn't come across. But actually, your hair looks fantastic, Henry. We're both going to give each other a little trim this weekend.
Oh, well, you know what? When I was a little girl, I had something called Girls World. And I used to cut the hair and put on makeup. And I'm now doing it to my daughters. I was cutting hair. Right, so what are you going to make for us for our snack attack this week?
Well, I was very excited to see... obviously, I'm a long-time fan of both Matt and Ben. It's so nice hearing their starter stories. And you and I were chatting, weren't we? And we were like, shall we theme our snack attack, our sweet and savoury snacks, around the guys? Which I thought was an amazing idea of yours, Gabby. So having a little stalk and a little look around, came up with these ideas. And I'm so glad that Matt brought his hen Kiki on, because my muffin for him is egg-inspired. Now, you know, they were, I've just brought them out the oven. I'm going to send a picture onto Hello so you can see how nice and big they were. And they've obviously, a bit like a souffle, they've sort of stunk a little bit. But this is what I've made, inspired by Matt Baker. I've got here, do you love how like these two are trying to be together? You've got eggs, we've got cheddar cheese, we've got the first of the season's asparagus. I wish I had a bit of wild garlic, I don't, so I put some parsley in. And this is, yeah, inspired by Matt, because I know he loves the land, I know he loves British produce, and I know he loves seasonality. So Henry's going to have a little bite in a minute, or now.
Please, we need the taste tester.
Now appropriate?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just...
Now, here's the thing, that people will always think of muffins as a sweet thing, but you can have savoury ones.
Absolutely. Oh, then that's going to be hot.
Mmm. I give that a 10 out of 10, Gabby.
10 out of 10 from Henry?
10 out of 10.
Fantastic. Remember, she's going to cut your hair, so you have to say 10 out of 10.
I strategically, see how some of them are really golden at the edges? I'm keeping the golden edge for me. And we'll probably have those tonight. The great thing about them is they'll last the next couple of days. Maybe we'll have them for brunch tomorrow. But what I really wanted to show you, because...
Well, can I just ask you what goes into them? Just tell us what goes into them.
I'm going to send you the recipe as well. Cheddar cheese, or you could use feta or goat cheese. Asparagus, if you can't get your hands on asparagus at the moment, broccoli or peas. I put some parsley, you could put basil, mint, dill, some eggs, and I put some leek, but you could put spring onions and onion or chives, and you just put it all together. I just sort of mix it all in like a sort of a juggy type thing, and then I pour it into those muffin cases. And what's really nice, if you want mini snacks and you've got any of those mini ones, like this is this, but you know some people have them with 12, so you can do real bite-sized ones. And they're lovely. They're so delicious.
I love the idea of those. Okay, I love those. I can see you've got some other ones down there as well. So is this the sweet one?
Gabby, have I got time to tell you about these ends? You know the very end of asparagus?
Yes.
Like this?
Yes.
Often, maybe on TV, we were taught to throw them away because they're hard and tough and not so nice for something like this. What you can do is you can make, there are asparagus ends, asparagus bottoms. I make asparagus bottom soup. Bottom soup, you simmer them with some frozen peas, maybe a dash of oat milk or cream, bit of garlic, and you make a beautiful bright green soup. So don't waste them, they're lovely.
What a brilliant idea. All about saving everything and being clever. Oh my goodness, you are brilliant. Okay, so now we got onto the sweet muffin.
Got quite a lot of muffins. I will be sharing these probably, maybe this evening. I'll leave them on some doorsteps or tomorrow morning. Bananas, fair trade bananas or whatever bananas you've got. I always look for fair trade when I can. They've got really ripe. Really, we timed this so well. They were perfect today. You know, when they're just perfect, like beyond speckled, really, really nice. And I've mashed them up and I've combined them with some ground almonds. You can also use oat flour. Did we talk about oat flour last week? We didn't, did we? No. Some friends were texting me saying, can't get any flour, can't get ground almonds, can't get regular flour. What can I do? So I suggested, because they had porridge oats, to grind them up in a blender to make oat flour, and it works.
What a great idea. And actually, for somebody like me who's gluten-free, I can get gluten-free oats and do that.
You can do that.
Loving that. Okay, we need Henry to taste one.
Oh, Henry's going to taste one. All right. Go on then, Henry. Pick which one you like.
I'm getting quite full.
You have to try one.
Go on then. Mmm.
Thoughts?
Banana-tastic.
I mean,
absolutely amazing.
He's already had one. He's had about 3 in the last 5 minutes. We've got, I just want to say, shout out to my mum. I love my mum. She gave me feedback on my performance with you last week. I won't tell you what she said. But anyway, she bought me this from a charity shop.
Yes.
Right? And Henry, as you know, is very cool. So this is not his sort of thing. And he said to my mum, stop buying our stuff. But it is our favourite thing. And we plan our week based on what we're going to put in it. And so this week we'll be putting the banana muffins in. So yeah, make some muffins. You know, banana bread's great. You could grate some apple in there too. And the most important thing is you get to enjoy it. You don't waste bananas when they go, you know, too soft for chomping on. And you can share it with a neighbour.
Perfect. You know what? I hope your mother told you you were wonderful, because you really, really are. You're an utter joy. So you're going to post the recipe and also, post the recipe each week that you give us for the snack attack, don't you?
I'd love to. That'd be great.
Brilliant. Bless you and have a good week. I'll see you next Friday.
Thanks, Gaby.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye, Melissa. Bye, Henry. Oh, they're just a delight.
See you later.
Bye. An absolute delight. Thank you so much. I know you've been tuning in from all over the world, and thank you very much. And a big thank you as well to everybody who's working to look after all of us. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back next week, next Friday at exactly the same time, live at 6 o'clock. I know who the guests are, but I'm not allowed to tell you yet, but it's very, very exciting. It might be somebody doing some sort of singing, but I can't tell you. Anyway, have a good weekend, everybody. Please stay safe, stay home, keep well, and we'll be back next week. Bye-bye.